Welcome back, my friends. We're here. We're doing it again. FilmStruck Film Club. What's going on? I'm so glad you're here. Is it your first time? I don't know. Either way, I'm really glad you're here. My name's Carson. This is my friend Groot. And if you're unaware, we watch like a movie a week. We've always been doing this since the dawn of time. Not really, but at least since the start of the pandemic. We've been watching movies every week. A lot of times they're from the Criterion Channel. So if you don't have a subscription to that, that's okay, because this week we watched something that's on HBO. Look at that. Maybe you have HBO. Hopefully you do, because then you were able to participate this week in watching one of the rare types of films that we almost never watch animation films in this club, which is a crime that will be remedied. But we're remedying it this week at least, because we watched a Studio Ghibli film, which if you're not familiar with Hayao Miyazaki, maybe you've seen Spirited Away or My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service. There are so many great Studio Ghibli films, and there's so many great Miyazaki films. The fun part of what we did this week is we watched the co-founder of Studio Ghibli's film, Isao Takahata, forgive me, who is the director of the acclaimed animated film Grave of the Fireflies. That film is like, I think on Letterboxd, it's like the number 35 best film of all time. So this guy's no slouch. He has definitely made good things. And this film, the one that we watched this week, is also featured on a Letterboxd list. On the same one, it's number 235 out of 250. So it's on the list, but out of the animated feature films, it's number, hold up, 16. Number 16, The Tale of the Princess Kaguya. This film is so gorgeous. I wanted to pick one of these Ghibli films that is available on HBO Max, and I was watching the trailers for them, and this one stuck out immediately because the animation itself is so unique. It's a watercolor, charcoal, very hand-drawn. It feels very organic. It's just a beautifully stunning piece of animation. It's based off a 10th century Japanese folk tale called the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter, which will make sense in a second. But the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter is this old story, and Takahata decided to make it into a film in 2013. It has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature Film in 2013, and somehow it lost to Big Hero 6. No hate for Big Hero 6. But if you watch this film, and then you watch that film, you will also wonder how on earth that happened, because the Tale of the Princess Kaguya is one of the most beautiful films ever. It's stunning to look at. It looks like pictures in a like a picture book, like for children, come to life. There's even a small section of this film where she's learning how to be a princess, and she's presented with a scroll and how to read it, and she just unfurls the whole roll because she's quite a rambunctious and very fast-growing little child. But I thought it was interesting that this scroll rolls out and the entire story is kind of just all laid out. And this film kind of unfolds like that as well, where the animation itself kind of feels like you're turning the pages and that these just still images are breathing life. Takahata has this amazing style of picking films to animate that really don't need to be animated. Grave of the Fireflies could have easily been a live-action film. Only Yesterday could have easily been a live-action film. And this could have easily been a live-action film, and they all would have been gorgeous to look at. But there's something about making it animated that lets you, I don't know, kind of tap into the abstract nature of reality a little bit. Aren't I smart for saying abstract? But it starts, obviously, if you haven't seen it, we're going to spoil some stuff. But it starts with this old man who's a bamboo cutter, and he's chopping away at this bamboo in this field, and one of this bamboo stalks starts glowing. And he is very curious, and all of a sudden a little sprout pops up, and a beautiful flower opens to reveal basically Thumbelina, a very tiny little princess. And he's amazed that he's been gifted from the heavens, he proclaims, this little princess. And so he takes her home to show his wife. And the second he gives her to the wife, boop, it's a baby. And so all of a sudden we're watching this little kid kind of grow rapidly, and all of a sudden the mother, she's got milk. And so she can feed the baby, and as we're carrying the baby, it's getting heavier, and boop, she rolls around and she's walking, and it's the fastest growing baby of all time. But then, of course, time slows a little bit. We do meet some other like little kids in the village and stuff, and she becomes friends, and she's tapping into how much she loves nature and the hills and the village and everything. But of course, Dad is continually shown these magical bamboo stalks that either have gold pouring out of them or fancy dresses that he realizes, I have to take this girl to the capital because the gods are telling me that I have to let her be a proper princess. And so then that's where the story really kind of turns into what it's going to be, which is this fiercely independent woman who is growing right before our eyes rapidly, is at this like tug of war with the expectations of her parents and her longing to just be with her friends and be in the village and be with the birds and the bees and the beasts and the whole thing. She even sings like a beautiful song about it. But the story winds up kind of taking on this melancholy nature, and it is something that Takahata is kind of known for. He doesn't make your typical Disney animated film where everything's okay and everyone's all right. No, we deal with reality a little bit more in this film, and so it really does a great job of grappling with these themes of like, how do we grow up and how do we honor our family and while also honoring ourselves, and how do we follow our heart and how do we be the most us we could possibly be with the time that we're given. Because now we're going to get into super spoiler territory, so watch out. If you haven't seen it, just go watch the trailer and be like, see if it's something that you'd be into. Because I promise, if you've ever enjoyed an animated film, if you've ever enjoyed a Miyazaki film, you're bound to enjoy his buddy Takahata. But yeah, it does kind of come out. We do find out where Kaguya is from. And she's from the moon. She's a child of the moon. And at one point, when her father's trying to set her up with one of the fancy princes of the land to be the wife of them, and it's just like a kind of whack existence for our girl Kaguya, because she can be doing so much more, and she's like, what, I have to just be some perfect little made-up angel with like black teeth and makeup and plucked eyebrows, and I can't even go to my own party because like it's beneath the station of a princess. It sucks. And so at one point she exclaims that she doesn't want to be here anymore. And that is the nail in the coffin for her, because that's when she finds out that she's got to go back to the moon. And it winds up being a beautiful and heartbreaking ending where Princess Kaguya not only ascends to the moon to no longer be of the earth and with her friends and with her family, but she's not even going to remember them. She is going to have her memory wiped of the entire experience of her time on Earth. And she doesn't want to leave. But it when I first was watching it and the film ended, I was just kind of like, that's it? That's what happens? But now that I've gotten to kind of sit with it a little bit longer, it is this beautiful allegory, I guess, for kind of growing up and leaving the house, and not necessarily that we like forget everything from growing up, but that our time as children and with our families and where we're from can and usually does leave, and we leave with it, and it can be sad, but there's something beautiful in that it is real. So yeah, I mean, there is one sequence in particular where she like gets up from I think from like a nightmare or something, and she runs out of the mansion, and we follow like through these things, and it's just like some stunning animation where you're looking at it and you're like, well, that's one of the best animated sequences I've ever seen. And there's several of those where you're just looking at it and I'm not entirely sure how this film exists. I will say it's like the most expensive Japanese movie ever made, which someone's got to tell me how that's the case, because unless they just paid these animators buku bucks, I don't know what made it so damn expensive. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to say. I've been talking a lot. You should definitely watch this film, and then after you do, you should go ahead and watch some other Takahata films, and then you should also go ahead and watch all of the Miyazaki films, because they are stupendous. He's the Walt Disney of Japan. Yeah, that's it, y'all. I'm so glad that we watched this movie. It was really kind of a nice departure for us to visit some beautiful animation this week. So I'm glad you joined us. Go ahead and follow us at FilmStruck Film Club. We'll keep you posted on all the future picks and reviews and things like that. Groot, he never has anything to say. He's always just, I'm Groot. I love you guys. I hope to see you again soon. We'll have a new pick tomorrow, and it'll be great. So yeah, peace.